right now, Victor Wembanyama tied a season-high 41 points and snatched 18 rebounds as the Spurs extended their winning streak to 10 with a 127-113 victory over depleted Warriors. San Antonio sits 2 games behind the Thunder with 6 to play. The Spurs also hold the tiebreaker thanks to a 4-1 head-to-head record. The Spurs are 26-2 in their last 28 games, marking the best record in a 28-game span in franchise history. That is the best record in the NBA during that span as well. Wemby talked about the Spurs' lack of playoff experience on SVP last night. Here it is.
Yeah, we don't have experience, right? Screw it. I mean, that's all we got. We're not going to play any different way just because it is this way. I mean, we're still going to play 100% and go to try to win this championship. Screw it.
Screw it. I mean, Wendy's basically talking to you. You're the one over here saying, hold on, everyone. The Spurs don't have any experience in the postseason. Is he changing your mind, Victor Wembanyama?
I mean, this is the thing. The Spurs are in a total honeymoon run right now. They live in an largely expectation-free zone. They're great finish to the regular season. Obviously, it makes them a serious contender to win. But if they don't win the championship this year, no one's going to call them a failure or get on them. They're all kids. We'll leave Stephen A. and Perk and everybody for challenging Victor Wembanyama and questioning his legacy for the next 2 or 3 years if he hasn't won 3 straight titles. This is an opportunity to do it for the first time. This is Final Four this weekend. And, Shay, I was looking. You know how many freshmen have won Most Outstanding Player of the NCAA tournament in the last 40 years?
One.
Between Purvis Ellison and 86? 3. There's been 3. When everybody was dancing on Duke's grave over the last couple of days, and I ain't stopping them. But we saw those things on social media listing all of those first-round draft picks that Duke has had in the last, 10 years, and yet they haven't won a national title. You want to know why? Because they're all freshmen. You don't win with young players in basketball. You win with experience. So when we say that we're not sure the Spurs are going to win because they haven't had experience, I can't necessarily quantify why they won't win. Will it be because they go shooting cold? Will it because they have a clutch game and they don't get it done? I don't know. Maybe they can. And when Victor says, screw it, he's like, we don't care. We're just going to go for it. And I like that. But there's a reason why people who are old and gray, like I'm getting to, say that we're not sure that a team can win without experience. Because basketball has taught us that typically when you go through a championship run, whether you're trying to win 6 games in the NCAA tournament or you're trying to win 16 games over 2 months in the NBA, that experience really matters. We don't always know how it matters, but it matters. There's a reason it matters, but it matters. There's a reason why. So I will sit here and say, I don't expect the Spurs to do it, but I wouldn't try to tell you that they can't. I just been around too long.
The funny part about people like Brian Windhorst, he sits up there and he says something because he's very articulate, obviously, and he covers the league backwards and forwards. He knows it just as well as anybody, but we've been in that seat before, too. I've been doing this for over 30 years. And I love how when he talks about me and Perk and what we'll do about Wemby if he doesn't win 3 years in a row. Like Wendy's some innocent bystander that's going to have nothing to do with the coverage, Shay. He's going to have nothing to do with the coverage. He's just going to sit around and watch us talk. But he ain't going to be the one talking, dissecting, and highlighting who's done what they haven't done, how folks didn't step up to the challenge. Luka Doncic is one of the all-world players in the NBA. Let me tell you something, Shay Cornett. You would be hard-pressed to find anybody that was more critical of Luka Doncic when the Dallas Mavericks went to the finals than Brian Windhorst. Nobody ate up Luka more than him. I was the epitome of Gandhi compared to Brian Windhorst when it came to Luka Doncic performing in the NBA Finals. Wendy was all over it. So y'all can go ahead and buy that and believe Wendy, the nice guy, as he dissects like a surgeon, just picking you apart. The way that he does, acting like he's just going to be some innocent bystander. And the bad guys, Stephen A. and Perk, we're going to be all over. Trust me. Just listen to Wendy with the smile, with the tie, with the non-assuming person. Just listen to what he says. And you'll find yourself going, damn, that's really harsh. Watch. Just wait for it. It's coming. Just wait for it. Let me say this about the Spurs. When you got a 7'5" dude that's literally intimidating most of the league defensively because you don't even want to go inside against this brother, that's problematic. But I do agree with you. Experience ultimately rules the day because you're talking about a best of 7 series. You're not talking about one-offs and you go against them a particular night and then you see them a month later or anything like that. It's a best 4-7. And when folks get to game plan for you and against you and you got to go through all of that, that definitely is a significant thing that can't be ignored. And I think that we all have to pay attention to that when it comes to the Spurs. But I would also say this, De'Aaron Fox is not a baby. Harrison Barnes is a champion. He's not a baby. They do have some experience on the squad that can help you. It's not like these are cats like Harrison Barnes can give you 15 to 18. De'Aaron Fox can explode at any given moment for 30 or 40. We've seen him do it. We know this brother's a scoring point guard when he wants to be. And so I look at the San Antonio Spurs as a very big-time formidable threat. I think they're the #1 threat to the Oklahoma City Thunder. We know they've beaten OKC 4 out of the 5 times they faced them. But I also look at a team like the Boston Celtics and the Detroit Pistons and how physical they can get, how they battle. And I look at it from that standpoint, and I don't see the Spurs closing the deal. I don't see this as the year them winning the championship. I think Wemby will win several championships. I just don't know if this year will be the year. Kendrick Perkins has picked them to win it all. I haven't. I'm still on that OKC bandwagon because of Shea Butter. I just think he's that special. But I will say that I think experience is going to come down. It's going to come down to experience. It does matter in the sport of basketball. Wendy is absolutely right about that, and I think it will plague the San Antonio Spurs when things get really, really tight and deep. They just bet. One thing I will say is this, though. What can make this season a failure, after the season they had, they can't just go and lose in the first round. They can't lose to whoever the eventual 7th seed is. That better not happen. They can't do that. Now, if you lose in the second round in a 7-game series to the Lakers, if you lose in the conference finals to OKC or something like that, that's different. But you damn sure better not lose in the first round. That would make this season a failure. We don't expect that from San Antonio.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Like, I think it would be shocking, regardless of their lack of experience, if they went out and lost in the first round. Maybe it would be equally as shocking if they went out and won the championship. What validates a good season for the Spurs at this point? Stephen A., why don't you answer that really quick before I go back? Yeah. Go ahead, Stephen A.
7 games. I think if you lost a 7-game series in the conference semifinals, a deep run to the conference semifinals or the conference finals, to me, qualifies as success. Anything less, getting bounced out in the first round, getting taken out in 4 or 5 in the second round, I don't think we expect that from the San Antonio Spurs. I think that would qualify as a disappointment.
Wendy, go ahead.
Let me just point something out. They haven't lost 4 games. I think they've lost 4 games since January 29th.
That's right.
You know what I just said? They've lost 4 games since January 29th. And so you're asking about somebody beating them 4 times in 7. Yeah, if they lost in the first round to anybody, that would be a disaster because they haven't lost 4 times in 2.5 months. Okay, so let's start with that. I don't think this is such a free roll for them. Every team, every postseason is an adventure in a certain respect. It's one of the things that I love watching, especially when I don't have skin in the game. I don't have a team. I can watch the adventure. And the Spurs are at the beginning of their adventure. And this was formed for me, Shea, by covering LeBron's adventures, his adventure in Cleveland the first time around, and then Miami, and then back to Cleveland, and then LA. And then I've picked up other teams along the way and followed their adventures. And so I have a feel for the arc of how it goes. And I don't mean to, be weird about this, but like there's this thing that happens with these teams, and it's exciting with the Spurs because they're at the beginning of their adventure. There will be a period, and I don't know if it'll be year 2 or year 3 or year 7, where there will be adversity, and they will have to fight through it, and maybe the adversity will come in year 1, but they're at the beginning of the adventure. They have already validated themselves as contenders. So that doesn't mean that they can get away with doing nothing. Of course, we have expectations, but I am just enjoying the Spurs and Victor at the beginning of the adventure, that he can come on with Scott Van Pelt after a game in April where they blow away a team that's, not even trying. The Warriors, spiked last night's game. And he can say, screw it. And I deeply care about the NBA. Other teams can't say that. You can't have Luka Doncic on and say, screw it. What does it matter? He lives in a different part of his adventure. Just enjoy the Spurs at the beginning of this adventure. And I say that to their fans and the players too, because it won't always be this carefree.
Well, you and I think slightly differently in that regard. Part of enjoying an adventure is fantasizing about where it will take you.
True.
And if you, like, for example, Wendy, what if I sat right here, Shay, Wendy, and I looked y'all dead in the face and said, okay, San Antonio Spurs, home in the first round. Let's say, for example, we knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that this season was ending in April. Suddenly, it's not as thrilling to watch them right now. It's not as enjoyable because they're going home early. Part of the enjoyment is the fantasy. It's the fantasizing about what you're going to do, because of the potential that you're showcasing. That's why we look at the Lakers right now. That's why we're looking at LeBron James playing the way that he's playing, and we're seeing Luka, and we're seeing AR. We're like, well, wait a minute now. We thought that the Lakers just sucked defensively, and they just gonna be home in the first round. That's not what we're seeing right now. Wait a minute now. Things could get very, very interesting, okay? We're looking at a team like Denver with Jamal Murray dropping 10 threes last night and knowing that Jokic ain't been himself. We know that he is going to ascend because we know how great he is. He's just been battling injuries while he's been playing. We're like, wait a minute now, it's about to get very, very interesting. We're looking at Boston. We say that Cleveland don't play defense, but we know what they can do offensively. Can you make it interesting against Detroit? How's Detroit going to respond to that? New York Knicks took Boston out last year. What's Boston going to do about that? Their vengeance. They've got vengeance on their mind. They're on a retribution trail. This is what's going on. You're seeing all of this stuff, and it allows you to enjoy the season. That's why I religiously say to everybody, I enjoy it more than most because I love soap operas. See, if you watch General Hospital, Sonny Corinthos been shot, stabbed, and everything. You watch Young and the Restless, Victor Newman's been pushed down the stairs, stabbed, done everything. They're going to live. Who doesn't know that? They're the stars of the show. But it doesn't stop you from watching it day to day, week to week, because it's about the story. I keep telling y'all that. Watch soap operas. You'll appreciate sports even more. It works.
The NBA is the best
I'll tell you
soap
something else,
opera,
Shay.
too.
I don't remember what Stephen A's character. What's your name again,
Rick.
Stephen A?
Rick.
Rick.
Surveillance expert for the mob.
It was Brick.
It's
Yeah,
Brick.
he's working with the mob, Shay, but his character ain't dying either. I just want you to know. I don't know if you heard, but he is.
That's true. That's true.
Don't give away the storyline now.